Sheriff Quadry.
My name is Jimi Disu. Good morning.
You can watch this show on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can watch on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's start this morning. Page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Natasha Akpoti Senate storms Senate office, resumes duties.
All right, so we got some, we moved a bit forward in the Natasha case yesterday. Her office was unsealed. And she was granted access into the NAS premises. Though she arrived, I saw the video, she arrived with quite a crowd. But she and some of her faithful were allowed to enter and the rest were kept out. And there is every indication that she would resume on October 7. And it is said that a source has told the Vanguard that she will be asked to apologize on the floor of the Senate. But guess what? She remains defiant and says, I'm not going to apologize, and I respect her for that. Who is she apologizing to? And for what? Listen to what she says here. She says that I'm going to be quite limited with what I'll say. Okay, in weeks to come, I'll have more to say. So I'm actually worried as to what apology they expect from me. You can't apologize for an injustice. And may I remind the good people of Nigeria that the document that led to my illegal suspension, which is a recommendation Senator Maxwell read, was actually written by the office of the Senate President. The signatures that endorsed the recommendations were not willful signatures. There was only a tender sheet that was attached. That means the entire document that read and pronounced my suspension was listed with fraud. This is just one illegality upon the other, and I think in Nigeria we should respect such things. I think it's actually appalling that such amount of illegality and fraud can occur in the National Assembly. And then she concludes, so if they are expecting me to apologize, I'm sorry, I don't have these words, and if that is the condition for opening this office, then I think we have a long dance to make. Thank you. Akpabio is not more of a senator than I am. This is the truth. How much have we had to face and sacrifice in the past 6 months and survive? Happened in the full globe of Nigerians. We survived the blockade of roads and waterways into Kogi. We had to fly in using the helicopter. We survived the blackmail from the so-called woman. This is another word. I don't want to be part of any of this thing. But it talks about the woman on Facebook. You know, it's amazing what we had to survive. I give God the Almighty the glory and my deepest appreciation, and so on and so forth. And she says there is still hope for Nigeria. I respect this woman. However, I would caution that she tread carefully so that she is not, one, misunderstood, and secondly, she also has to think about denying her people the representation. They've been denied for about 6 months now, and that is quite heavy. So she also has to think at the end of the day that it's not just about her, it's not just about women folk, but it's also about the people that she represents that are being denied representation. So she needs to put these things in a balance. But it's not over yet, apparently.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And by the way, excuse me, the Senate, they are on 2-week recess, I think so.
Yeah, it was extended.
Extended by 2 weeks. So, yeah, let's see what happens when the Senate finally resumes.
Do you think they're buying time by doing that?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No,
so why was it extended?
I don't know the reason given, but there's got to be a reason.
Reason given is different from what you think could be the reason.
So there was a reason.
There must be a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So there must be a reason. I mean, it's what they...
I suspect that they want to see what they can do within the 2 weeks, because that woman is going to make a grand entry any day that they open that place, and there's likely to be fireworks. So I think that they want to buy time for the 2 weeks to make sure that everything is settled as much as possible, quote and unquote, the Nigerian way. After all, like they always say, it is a family matter.
Indeed. Let's go to our next story. Tenure elongation. Nigerians will resist Tinubu's stay beyond 2027. ADC.
Yes, I've seen the back and forth about whether the president would want to stay beyond. He hasn't even won his re-election in 2027. But yes, I can understand the anxiety of people who might be inclined to think that he would stay beyond 2027. I hope not. I hope not, because it would plunge this country into the biggest crisis ever seen. But I hope not. But I can't say boldly that it will not happen. I can't say that. Even if as of now the president hasn't thought of it, as time moves on and with the kind of National Assembly and politicians that we have, I can't say boldly that there will not be an attempt. How far it will be resisted will depend largely on how far the president himself goes from now till this second or third year after 2027. But again, it will be a factor then. Whether you like it or not, the president is old. And even though his age is put at 73, I mean, all of us know that Baba is not 73, so there'll also be an age factor. And Nigeria is a funny place, but I don't trust my politicians. And one of the reasons why one should be worried is this: if you have a sense of history, I don't want to quote, I don't want to ruffle feathers, but if you have a sense of history, when most places he appears, at national places, and on your mandate we shall stand his song repeatedly, not necessarily at party level, it's worrying. These are the beginning of the signs of those of us who did history, who have a sense of history. We've seen it happen in the world before, and we hope that it doesn't repeat itself. And when you now turn around and see that there's a 92-year-old Cameroonian next door who is running for presidential election, then you know that.
By the way, one of his children has said that her father would to run again.
Somebody is going to tell you that on money. There's always, you see, politicians have an answer for everything. And they might say that her mother is not the woman at home, all kinds of funny things. But the man is going to win the election. He has the country tight under him. And it's happening in Africa. In fact, Ghana and South Africa are the only two countries I can think of now. Maybe Tanzania. I can think of who have had a nice relay of power. So all said and done, well, his spokesperson now has said that he will not. He does not thinking of time negation. But I am always afraid of a sentence that the sentence has in the middle of it. However, and the president didn't plan to run. But however, I hope that doesn't happen.
Okay.
But we still have 2027 to contend with.
Okay. Let's go take this story here. Quite an unfortunate one. Page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. Container crushes police officer, another to death in Lagos.
Initially, when I saw this story this morning, I thought maybe that was what was responsible for the terrible traffic that you had statewide. Yesterday, I heard it was bedlam everywhere. But apparently, another trailer also fell on the Ajah side of town. And then with the heavy rains and so on. I don't know what the Lagos State government is going to do about the menace of these trailers. I don't know what they're going to do. And I think the government needs to, maybe the governor and so on, they need to go back and work out something, because they are a complete menace. Apart from the fact that the drivers drive anyhow, I mean, that is a human fact. But most of them are not tied on properly. It's a free world. And that is where I think a lot of these, what do you call them now? Not Madja, what all these...
LASMA?
No, not LASMA. No.
FRSC?
The Lagos State licensing, whatever.
VIO.
VIO.
Okay.
That's where they need to concentrate on public vehicles. But of course, we know that the VIO lately has become an extortionist and whatever. But the governor needs to do something, concentrate on these trailers. They're a complete menace, and they're everywhere.
Right.
Every corner you go, you find a container and whatever. And there must be a better way of doing these things. Come to think of it, I will notice again next time I travel.
Yeah.
I don't seem to see that much containers within the city of London. I don't tend to see them. But I think Mom, I think a lot of the containers are moved by rail. But containers have become a complete nuisance here, and we must find a way of getting things done. So yesterday, a police officer and a female passenger, they were crossed to death. They used the word crossed. And that a 40-foot container loading truck overturned on a commercial tricycle at the Jora Causeway inward 7-Up. And may their souls rest in perfect peace.
Okay. May their souls rest in perfect peace. Amen. Let's go to the politics page of the Vanguard newspaper. The story is here. Atiku Tinubu in fierce battle for Buhari's northern bloc.
So the gloves are off. The race for 2027 without annex permission has been kick-started by everybody. So that's the way Nigeria is. We don't stick to the law. Yes, but both those in government and those in the opposition, the race for 2027 has kicked off. And the first battle for Buhari's northern bloc. Buhari has a northern bloc, which I think is represented by the CPC in APC. And it is said that they are not happy with the president. But the president, being the politician that he is, he attended a wedding. Now, it appears innocent. No, it's not that innocent. He attended a wedding in Kaduna last weekend to try, and also visited Aisha Buhari, Buhari's wife, and so on and so forth. But it is also said in this story that Atiku is making a very good, is making quite some progress, and that it appears that some parts of the northern bloc have pledged their allegiance to him. But you see, in politics you have to be very, very careful. You don't know anything that is going to happen or which way it's going to go until the very last day. To pledge allegiance to a politician is like me saying good morning to Sheriff. It's at the tip of their lips. They will pledge allegiance, they'll do all kinds of things. So you are not quite sure. But it is said here that Atiku seems to be making some inroads. Personally, well, I've already said I'm not. I'd rather we have a new beginning and have a new fresh set of people. So that is quite clear. So there's a lot of propaganda in this story, so I won't bother ahead to read some of these things.
Yeah.
Some of these stories could jolly well be false. In politics, it's fair game, propaganda, lies, and so on and so forth. But at least one thing that is quite apparent is that the president and Atiku are battling, for North. The question I want to ask, what happened whilst I was away, why did the president cut short his visit to France? Do you have an idea?
No, I don't.
What was the reason given?
I don't think that a reason was given.
Just that he cut short his vacation. Okay. I have some ideas, but I'll keep them to myself for now.
For now, okay. For now. They want to give an idea?
No. No, I just... Well, when I say I'm going to keep them for now, that means that I'm not going to talk about it again.
Okay.
So let's go on to the next one.
All right, let's move on to the next story. Page 6 of the Punch newspaper.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. Lagos gives a 10-month deadline for Computer Village relocation.
Computer Village itself was an irresponsible act. I remember way back when we were in Unilag, early 80s. We used to go to visit the Benitez. It was a nice middle-class area I think the ministers had an hotel, and then later Fela started playing at the shrine. But it was a nice middle class area. But now, how it became a full market, I don't understand. Do you know that in Computer Village, there are still some people who live in the midst of what is now called the market? People who, especially, and most likely they are elderly. Maybe that's the only house that they have in Lagos, or maybe the only house they have. If you don't go out as early as 6:30, you're not likely to be able to go out with your car again until the market closes in the evening. So we have sat back idly. Both the traders and the Lagos state government have irresponsibly sat back while the place became a market. And I think there's a lesson to be learned there. So right now, it is said that the Lagos state government, so if you didn't hear here now, they have issued an 18-month window. You have a whole 18 months to round up your tenancy and relocate to the new site at Katangowa, Agbado, Okeodo, Local Council Development Area. Where would this be? I don't know, but it is apparently somewhere in Lagos. And the statement made by the Permanent Secretary, Bola Oki, Permanent Secretary, Lagos Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. He had the stakeholders meeting yesterday, at the market with the traders and the environment. He says the government wants your cooperation to ensure the relocation comes to pass. The time is now. We have to make the project a reality. The relocation period is 18 months. So it's not in 18 months' time for somebody to come and say, oh, because we are from the east, or because now you have been told, you've been given 18 months' notice. So in 18 months' time, we hope this will become the middle-class residence that it was meant to be in the first instance. But the lesson for the state government, don't sit back and watch areas deteriorate, even for the neighbors. That was why it was the knowledge and the experience of Computer Village that made me almost go into fisticuffs with my neighbors in Sulere. Yes, somebody started with the block industry before. One day I saw Yoni. One day I saw stones. One day, and I said to myself, I don't want this place I don't want to find myself living in a wooden market. This is how it starts. If you go to Mushi now, one day I had to go for a burial ceremony somewhere in what you call Mushi area. That area. The Google Maps completely confused me because everywhere has become a market. In Mushi, a lot of the places have become markets. And I wonder why we find it so difficult to plan our lives, all because some people, quote and unquote, too, must have something to eat. So I think we should learn the lesson from relocations. Are very difficult. They're full of pain. They're full of political innuendos and all kinds of things. The notice has been given now, 18 months time. 18 months time, and Mr. Oki, I think he's now Chief Okio.
Yes, no, a white guy chief.
He's a white guy. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Me. Congratulations to him anyway. Okay.
Let's move on to our next story. Still talking about chiefs. This is in the Punch as well, page 7 of the Punch. Onis Palace slams Oluwo over Ife, not Yoruba origin claim.
The real, what do you call it now? The ownership, whatever, in Yoruba land, if care is not taken, it's going to become a huge joke and an embarrassment to us as a people. But that part is the story for another day. Most of them are not conducting themselves in a good manner at all. And it's worrying. The initial statement that was made by the Alaafin and between himself and the Oni, I think there's been a way to keep it quiet. I think there's some silence on that, and I think some elders have stepped in. But somebody needs to tell the Oni to put his spokesperson in check. I even had to have a 1 hour session on spokespersons. I wonder if these people listen. Okay, so the Oluwo of Iwo, or the laughing, whatever. Anyway, he says that he's made a claim that Ile-Ife is not the origin of the Yoruba people. Let him make whatever statements he makes. It's a free world. But the representative, the spokesperson of the Oni, in replying, said this, and I hope he has been misquoted. You know what he said?
What's it?
No reasonable person reacts to Oluwo's stage comment. This is very. What kind of? Who brings up these people? Speaking on behalf of the, referring to another, whatever you might think of such a person. Mr. Moses Olafare, this is totally unexpected. And we don't want to set bad examples for our children. How can you refer to another traditional ruler and say no reasonable person will react to Oluwo's comments? I have my feelings also about Oluwo's comments, but I've just said to myself, for as long as his people are happy with him, and a lot of these arguments are they're just historical. At the end of the day, if he says that the Yorubas are not if Ile-Ife is not the origin of Yoruba, let him say so. It's his view. But please, I'm more concerned with the yesterday. General Marwa was talking about buying kits for our children to dissuade them from being on drugs. But I've said that look, even the adults have not behaved well. Until the only denies this statement, his spokesperson has said on his behalf that no reasonable person will react to Oluwo's comments. I mean, that is not good enough. That is not good enough. And I hope, as for the marks that the Oluwo said, you can go read it up in the Punch. Because time is not our friend here, we don't have time to read what he has said. But please, let us watch the lingo. Let us exhibit good breeding and good man. Let us set a good example for our younger ones.
Okay, all right. It's 7:54. Let's take our last story as we go. Tinted glass permit, a bad idea. Egbetokun, drop it.
Yeah, the Punch has put up a very good editorial, and I'd like somebody to pass it on to the IG, that this idea of tinted glass, the way I look at it is a no-no. It looks as if it is a money-making venture. The Punch argues that by law, the police are not a revenue-generating agency. On its portal, the MPF collects fees for about 6 services to the public and corporate organizations, and that by collecting money, they have turned themselves into a money-making agency, which should not be the case. In this context, bail is free, but everybody knows that this is not the practice. The police are not helping their already stained image. The Punch argues that the enforcement will instigate chaos and extortion. That is what Ibadan politician called Chaos. Chaos and extortion, given the Nigerian police long and thorough history of extortion, bribery, and extrajudicial killings. According to the police, the tinted glass permit is 14,200. The vehicle owner will apply through the dedicated portal, pay, and then go for biometric capture at a police station. What kind of wala is this? And guess what? There's no distinction between you tinting your car or the tint that comes originally with the vehicle. At this rate, almost because nowadays most vehicles are tinted. So definitely one can say, whether you like it or not, somewhere along the line, you'll be right to say it's a money-making venture. So, and the Point also puts up the argument about how it undermines the new tax reforms that the government claims is in the front burner of the new reforms that we are going to go through.
We have to go now, Lagos. Thank you for being a part of the show. You're back at 9.
Yes, I'm now with Daddy, the matchmaker.
Okay, all right. Stay here. Kofi is back after the news with the remaining hour on the Morning Crossfire. Stay with us, please.
11 p.m. Don't knack, na yellow clock be that.
Yes, so better don't come as the MTN Mega Bid don't land and your number fit win up to 5 million naira jackpot every Monday to Friday and up to 10 million naira jackpot every Saturday.
Just dial star 900 ash to join and recharge your MTN line before 5 p.m. every day. Make you for increase your entries. The more you recharge, the more entries you go get and increase your chances of winning.
Oh yeah, recharge now and stand the chance.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.